Oh, hello. This is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe. It was nearly about 20 years ago. I was on a tour of southern China and I met a father and son, and I would call them Danny and David for the purpose of this video. They were on this trip to celebrate their retirement from Danny's restaurant business. They are Vietnamese Americans, and Danny owned a successful restaurant in Houston, Texas, and he was an accomplished chef. During the early part of the trip, I had an opportunity to sit right next to him on the bus. We had a most interesting conversation, and he told me about his understanding and his concept about wok chi. I have reported our conversation in this video. Later during the trip, I had a chance to sit next to David, and we talked about the food they eat at home. David told me that the food they eat at home is as good, if not better than what is in the restaurant. So I asked David, do they have a special stove at home for Danny to cook this kind of food? David said, oh, not at all. We just have a regular kitchen stove. My father just had a way to cook food, have that kind of wok chi that he achieved in the restaurant with a high-power stove. I then asked David, how did he do it? And David said, well, you need to ask him. I was looking for an opportunity to talk to Danny again, but unfortunately, the tour ended before. I also failed to catch them so that I can get their contact information. So for the next 5 to 7 years, this has been on my mind, how to achieve wok chi in an home kitchen. From there, I also remember the conversation that I have with Danny. I remember he said to me, you can wok chi in one way or the other. You just achieve it through a different route. It might take a little bit longer and it might take some compensation. So I wonder what these compensations are. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I went to Canada to visit my cousin. I would call her Marge for the purpose of this video. Marge has been living in Canada for a long time, and when she was young, her family actually operated a restaurant in Toronto. During that visit, Marge and I discussed about wok chi, and I asked her, could you achieve wok chi in your own home kitchen? First of all, we both need to agree what wok chi is. So I told her what Danny described to me what is wok chi. She told me that she could not agree with him more. And she said, you actually could achieve wok chi in your home kitchen. And she said, I could show you how to do this. I told her that if she could show me how to do this, I would eternally grateful. And I will worship her as the kitchen goddess. In the following video, I'm going to create what she described to me, in fact, what she demonstrated during my visit. First, she explained to me is that you cannot achieve wok chi in any type of cooking condition. The first condition, she said that your food ingredient should be as dry as possible because any moisture or any fluid will reduce the temperature of the oil in the wok. She said that's particularly important in the home kitchen because you don't have the heat capacity as in a commercial kitchen where any moisture could be evaporated quickly when the heat is very intense. She said the heat oil is very important for generating flavor in the food ingredients. Although she said she had never heard of the Maillard reaction, but after I explained to her, she said to me that makes a whole lot of sense. The next thing she said to me is that you could not have too much oil, particularly due toward the end of the cooking, because there's a time you want to create that flavor that results from charring the ingredients. As long as there's oil in the wok, the food ingredient would not be charred. So in the following, I'm going to recreate the demonstration she gave me when I was visiting her in Canada. So I cooked this dish the other night for my wife and I for dinner. I'm going to make sure that all the 3 ingredients that I'm going to use are dry. I'm going to use some carrot, broccoli, and mushroom. They are all considered to be dry ingredients with very little moisture associated with them. I'm going to cook this dish with my 14-inch Cucina stainless steel wok. I'm going to first spot season the wok. If you are not familiar with it, you can take a look at this video. The spot seasoning will create a condition where the oil will be as hot as possible because they will be right at their smoking point. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of canola oil to the wok, just enough to cover the bottom of the wok. I let the oil to heat up and to smoke gently, and I let it smoke for about 15 seconds before I add the carrot to the wok. I then stir fry the carrot to make sure it is all coated with oil. According to Marge, this is an important step because if you do not coat the ingredients with oil, they will not generate the flavor molecule. Another important consideration is that at this point, I have left the burner at the highest setting. I next add the broccoli to the wok. As you can see that after I stir fry the broccoli, it was very clear there's not enough oil in the wok to coat the broccoli completely. Now, according to Marge, you should not add too much oil, but you can always add oil when you see there is a need. So in here, I noticed that the floret remained to be dry, so I add more oil directly over the floret. I stir fry the content again to make sure all the ingredients are able to cycle through the center of the wok and to make sure they are all well coated with oil. At this point, I decided there's not enough oil to coat all the surface of the floret. Therefore, I add more oil again directly over the broccoli. So far so good. You can clearly see the florets are coated with oil and they are being cooked. And then I did a taste test to make sure the texture of the broccoli has achieved the expected result that I want. What I like to have is that to have that velvet softness of the floret, but with the stem remain slightly crunchy. For me, it is the contrast between these two textures make broccoli so attractive to eat. Next, I add the mushroom, which I cut them in chunks. Again, because my wife loves the texture of mushroom, when I cut them in chunks, the texture will be retained. Again, as you can tell, the mushroom has sucked up the oil readily and just there's not enough oil to cover the surface of the mushroom, so I add more oil. At this point, I add the garlic to the wok because I want the dish have a strong garlic flavor. I used to add the garlic in the beginning of the stir fry, but Marge told me that don't do it because garlic contains fluid, and when you add the garlic, it will reduce the temperature of the oil. Again, we need the hot oil temperature to generate flavor molecule on the surface of the broccoli. At this point, most of the oil are already consumed by the ingredients. So therefore, if you look at the bottom of the wok, there has almost no oil at all. Marge told me that that is ideal because oil serves as an insulator between the hot wok bottom and the vegetables. When the oils are depleted, the vegetable will get burned. As you can see quite here, the carrot as well as part of the broccoli floret has started to get burned. Marge told me that this charring is important to generate flavor in the food ingredients. Okay, after a few quick stirs, the dish is done. I decided not to season the dish at all because I want the natural flavor to come through. I transfer the content to a serving plate, and the total cook time is about 5 minutes. My wife and I are eager to test the result, and we both feel that the broccoli is excellent, and the carrot and mushroom also has achieved their potential. We probably could have easily finished everything in that dish, but we decided we would leave some for my son so he can have a taste of it as well. So I incorporated them into a lunch for him so that he could eat it the next day. The next day after he ate what I have saved for him, I asked him, so how did you like it? The first thing he said to me, he said, Dad, you need to put some salt in it. I said to him, oh, I'm sorry, I will do that next time. I guess you win some, lose some. I remember what Danny told me during our conversation on that tour. He said to me, stir fry is both simple and complicated at the same time. It's like a dance performance that everything has to be happen in the right sequence and right timing. I hope you find this video useful, if not interesting. I will continue to explore the potential of wok chi in future videos. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button below. This will help me to expand my audience base. If you'd like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe. I'll see you next time.